Okay, this is Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Rising. We're going to talk about your new moon, your April new moon, and we're going to actually just talk about Mars, we're going to talk about Uranus, we're going to talk about Venus, and we're going to discuss the big square that we have coming up. It's going to be a big T-square with the South Node and the North Node, and it's going to be squaring up with the world axis. Now, normally, we are always in the midst of a big great cross with the world axis, because that's what it is. It's the 0 degrees of the cardinal signs. So we've got 0 degrees of Cancer, 0 degrees Capricorn, 0 degrees of Aries, and 0 degrees of Libran energy. But at the new moon on the 22nd of April, we have the transiting nodes sitting at 0 degrees in Aries, 0 degrees in Cancer and 0 degrees Capricorn. So we're going to discuss a little bit about what that might look like for you specifically, because then we will know what area of your life it's going to be happening in and understanding better what to expect. Now, we also are going to be having Mars trining Venus, which will be beautiful. We're also going to have the moon and the sun together on the new moon, create the new moon, but literally hours after the new moon, we have the moon moving, because it's in Taurus energy, I should say, Taurus at 3:24. The moon is then hours later going to move and touch Uranus. So you're going to want to know where that's going to be in your life. You're going to want to know what that's going to feel like so that when it happens, you can recognize it and understand how to move through that energy. But that's not the only thing. Then we have the sun, which moves 1 degree a day. So then on the 26th, the sun catches up to Uranus and it sits right on top of it. And you're going to want to know what that's going to look like so that you can be prepared and you can make choices and decisions, because in the new moon, we make our intentions. And so this is interesting because Uranus energy can make us feel impulsive, can make us, we have a desire for different, right? And because it's in Taurus, and Venus is a big player in all of this. Venus rules Taurus. Venus rules Libra. Venus is out of balance. So Venus is acting more extreme than normal. So her desire levels are higher than normal. She becomes imbalanced. Now, this could be beautiful because we are experiencing it already. We see people giving, donating. We see people helping others in ways that we don't normally see. We've got Venus, who is the ability, it says, you know what, I value this. Venus rules our money, our tangible resources, right? So I had a great example that I saw not too long ago from, I don't know if it was one of the places, one of the companies that handle materials and goods. It's not the HL store. It's the other one, like Joanne Fabrics or something like that. Anyway, they're giving away material. They're giving away like these kits so that people can make at-home face masks that don't require any sewing. So you don't have to have any special skills or tools. Anyhow, they're literally giving this stuff away. Like you can actually get in touch with them to go pick it up outside the store and they'll do curb deliveries, or they will send the stuff to your store. I would imagine you have to pay for the delivery, but anyway, it's a way of giving, a way to help those on the front lines who need it. So this is all like an expression of Venus out of balance. So let's go ahead and dive deep into the all astrology. That if you do not have your own chart, if you are not familiar of where some of these things happen in your life, or if you just need clarity, if you just, you may have a specific question, comment your stuff below. Once you comment your birth digits, I can then look this up for you and I can give you a more specific answer to your chart. Because remember, these readings are very general. This is based to give information and knowledge about the cycles for the greatest amount of people. And this is for, again, Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Rising. I know a lot of people who watch sometime will listen because they're like a Pisces sun sign. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but what you really want to do is, this is a Pisces rising video, so you really do want to find out what is your rising sign. Now, your birthday will not give you your rising sign. You need a birth time to figure out your rising sign. And if you don't have that, there are ways to narrow it down, and we have been known to help people figure that out. So again, comment whatever you do have as far as your birth digits. Comment and let us know what it is, what information you have at your disposal. And if that even means something like, I don't have my birth time, but my mom said it was sometime in the morning or whatever. We'll start a rapport and we'll figure it out. We'll get to it. I have a cat hanging around here somewhere. I have the door open. We've broken in a new lighter, and we're going to get some high frequencies pulling in here so we get some good information going. New moon is the sun and the moon together. They sit at 3:24 in the sign of Taurus, and this happens on the 22nd, 23rd, depending upon where you live. But what I will tell you is this time, 9:26 p.m. Chicago time, Central Standard Time, happens on the 22nd, okay? The new moon degree and timing is usually important because of the fact that we like to set intentions. And so having a really good understanding of what day to set that intention for helps, so that you are working with energies that will support your intentions, that will support your desire. And this is a new moon that is all about our desire. This is a new moon that is ruled by the planet Venus. Venus is out of bounds right now, so be very careful about what you wish for. This is going to be a big deal. Our emotions are also part of our fuel for the new moon. And we're going to have that because not long after the new moon occurs, the new moon is the sun and the moon together, but recognizing where's Uranus in Taurus right now? Well, at the new moon, Uranus is in Taurus at 6:24. So literally 6 hours after the sun and the moon are together, the moon's going to pull off of the sun and it's going to sit right on Uranus. So what does that mean? Uranus is all about, I need something different, damn it. And I want something different. And I'm going to be, so it makes you very impulsive. It makes you very maybe impatient because your emotions are involved. It's like, but I want this. So if you've got kids and you're home with them, be aware of this ahead of time. This is going to be a time where we can also feel rather scattered because Uranus energy in general is very electric. And it's kind of like these, you know how electricity functions, right? It's like this that kind of feeling. So it could have, people who have nerve issues, there might be a little bit of that going on, a little feeling very frazzled, and maybe some anxiety at that time too. Being aware of the new moon energy and the fact that it's the sun and the moon together, and then hours later the moon goes and sits on Uranus, will give you the foresight. We'll give you the way to go and how to move forward into this, knowing, okay, I could feel that way in my life. Well, that was expected. So I knew it was coming. So what do? You plan to do nothing around that time. It'll be hard to stay focused. If you need to be like zeroed in on something, if you've got something that requires your undivided attention, you want to kind of make a plan to do something different, because you're already going to be like, I'm doing something different. Well, knowing you have working with energies that are different and that demand you do something you haven't been doing, just plan it now. Just say, you know what? I already know that's a day that I'm probably not going to get any work done. I need to plan to do something that will give me a sense of it'll spice up my life, but at the same time, it'll emotionally satisfy me. All right. So for Pisces Ascendant, you're going to have to find out where's your Taurus energy in your chart. When you know where your Taurus energy is, you will know where this is going to happen. So if I look over at your chart, the general chart for all Pisces, this is your third house. So this is going to be Uranus with the moon on top of it, right? Saying, but I want to communicate differently. I want to express differently. I want to talk differently. I want to think differently, because this is your third house. And that's what the third house is. It's how I think. It's how I communicate. It's how I express. Okay. Now with Uranus there and the moon being on top of it, and then days later, by the 26th, the sun will be on top of it. So Uranus energy keeps getting reinforced this whole time. Okay. So at the date of the new moon, you've got the sun and the moon together. They're 3 degrees away from the Uranus energy. So I don't imagine that day it being a huge impact. Actually, on that day, I feel as though Uranus being all about our individual self, how am I unique? That's what Uranus is about. And it's in Taurus, okay? And it's been in Taurus already for like 2 years. So we've already been experiencing more ways in which we think that sets us apart from others that we know, that makes us different from people who are in our daily routines. for Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Rising. Makes us different from our coworkers, definitely. Makes us different from our neighbors. That's what it's all about. That's why Uranus and Taurus is in your third house. It's you think differently than other people. You express differently than other people. And that's the whole point of it, right? It's Uranus energy is the group. It's how I function in the group, but how I can still remain, how my individuality stays intact within the group. Okay, so it's I'm in the group, but I learned how to function and how to retain my identity within the group. All right. Now, the moon and the sun together by themselves typically represent an energy where we feel kind of good in our skin. We know we're different and we feel comfortable with it because there's this emotional satisfaction that the sun energizes. And the sun says, you know what? I'm stabilizing this. And so we feel good. But the moon is fast. Okay, it moves pretty fast, and 6 hours later, it'll be with Uranus. And at that point, all of a sudden, we have a different desire. We all of a sudden feel like, you know what? What I thought I wanted like just 6 hours ago, I don't want that anymore. This is someone who's like, yeah, in the morning they make a plan for dinner, and by dinner time, they're like, no, I'm not feeling that. I don't want that. I want something different, right? So in your third house, it's really about how you think and communicate, though. But it could be how I think and communicate about food, right? So your food choices may change on that day. It's wouldn't be hard to believe. We usually set our intentions at this time, okay? Now, I am asking folks in general to wait until the 24th of April to set their new moon. Your energy, the moon is still in the Taurus energy. This is before the planet Pluto goes retrograde, all right? Because Pluto actually will, it's almost standing still at this point, right? Because it will begin its, well, actually it is. It'll begin its backwards moment on the 26th of April. So on the 24th of April, this is right before the sun literally sits on Uranus. I know this is like it's very specific, the timing here. So you kind of want to make sure that if you're going to be, partaking in a new moon ceremony, which I really feel I'm definitely going to be doing. I think I'm going to be doing a lot of full moon and new moon ceremonies, at least while we have the weather. And really honing in Venus power, because Venus is so extreme right now. She's out of bounds, and it's what we desire. So understanding our values, making sure that we're part of what we value, and how my values, how my abilities that I value, how they can contribute to others, how we can all benefit from another person's strengths, another person's gifts, what other people have to offer, how we can receive what they have to offer. And that is Venus energy. It's not just about the giving, it is about how I receive. 26th of April. This is the day that the sun is sitting on top of Uranus. This is this is like Uranus getting a burst, being re-energized about being different, about standing out. Now, because Venus rules Taurus and Venus is out of bounds in Gemini, there is this intensity of this is what I value, this intensity of this is who I hold dear in my life. So it is not going to be uncommon for us to maybe have a little less patience also during this time, because Uranus again wants to act upon, it wants to it's the outside of the box, it's the inventor, it's the I am different, I am unique, I'm not the same as you, and I desire something different. So what we're facing is a time where we have to master flexibility. We have to realize that we are in changing times. And this brings up my next point, which is the South Node and the North Node sitting on the 0 degrees of Cancer and the 0 degrees of Capricorn. Now, for Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Rising, everything I've talked to up to this point was all this new moon and the moon on Uranus and the sun on Uranus. This was all in your third house, okay? 0 degrees Cancer, 0 degrees Capricorn. Your Cancer energy is your 5th house, okay, for Pisces Ascendant. Your 5th house is your romantic partners. It's dating, it's relating, right? It's also your children, okay? It is also how you express, how you feel joy in your life. It's your creative outlet. It's how you have fun with your body, okay? Now, that's 0 degrees Cancer. Find out where that is. See if that is in your 5th house, right? If you've got those charts where they're not perfectly lined up, which most charts aren't, you could have 0 degrees Cancer in your 4th house. you would want to know? That would be important. Comment yourself below. I can answer that very quickly for you. Now, your 0 degrees Capricorn energy typically is going to be over up into your 11th house. That's where Capricorn is for Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Risings, typically. All right, because it's 0 degrees Capricorn, there could be some of that in your 10th house. You would want to know because it makes a big difference. Let's go backwards. Your 0 degrees Cancer energy, if it's in your 4th house, it's about home. It is about where you live, what you call home, what you think of, what you feel of as home. That's where that is, okay? The 5th house, I already said, right? That is how I have fun. That's how I express. That's how I date. That's how I relate. That's my romance. That's where I take a risk in my life. That's how that's your creative house. Your creative outlet is your 5th house. Whereas the 4th is definitely to where you sleep at night, right? It is where you live. Point of peace, because when we go home, we feel safe. It's our kingdom, right? It is the place where we know where we can kick our shoes off. We can go have a drink. Some people go and have a smoke. Whatever it is, you know that it is in that space. It is yours. It is private. You can do whatever you want within your 4 walls, so to speak. And it's nobody else's business. You're relaxed there. You can be yourself there. So there's a big difference. It is a very private location. Now the Capricorn energy, that 0 degrees, I'm sorry, I just lost my whole chart. The 0 degrees of Capricorn energy, if it's not in your 11th house, then it could be in your 10th. But your 11th house, the difference is your 11th is your group energy. All right, it's the internet, right? Because you go on the internet and you have access to limitless numbers of people, okay? You go on a social media site and you can connect with tons. And so the 11th house is your friendship, okay? It's your group energy. If we go to the 10th house, though, this is a little bit different. This is my ambitions in the world. Some people say it's the house of your career, all right? Your work, your job. Very different, okay? Very different. What does it mean if the South Node and the North Node are there? Well, South Node is going to be the Capricorn energy. So typically it's going to be in the 11th house. So a releasing. South Node is what we're letting go of, what we're releasing. If this is in the groups of friends, there might be some friends that you had for a long time that you're releasing because it's Capricorn energy. Capricorn is something we have built up over time. This doesn't have to just specifically be friends. It could be groups that you were involved in that all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I don't want to be doing that anymore, okay? I've kind of outgrown it. It doesn't fit me anymore. The 11th house, again, as always, is the house of the astrologer. And so there might be something in regards to, maybe you're someone who followed astrology and maybe you're, pick up a new form of astrology. There's tons of different teachings. And so maybe you might liken to something else. Maybe you are going to walk away or not so much a walk away. This isn't really a walking away energy. This is more of a I've outgrown it energy. So it's not like you even really have to initiate. It's just you're done. It's at the 0 degrees. The South Node's been transiting through there. It feels natural. It's a natural release. It's like when we exhale. There's nothing abnormal about it. It's just, I'm done. There's no animosity. It's just, okay, I'm done. Now, the North Node is the different one because that is where we're going. That is something new. That is not something we're letting go. It's a new beginning. And when it's at that 0 degree point, it is a cardinal point, which represents something new. It's action. We're taking action. If that's your Cancer energy, then if that's in your 5th house, this could be as simple as a creative project. You know it's going to be something much bigger if you have a planet there. Or if this 0 degrees Cancer is like on your IC or something, But that likely wouldn't be for a Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Rising, because it's the 0 degrees Cancer point. But if it's on the 5th house, look to see if you have a planet there, okay? If you don't know if you have a planet there, you can very easily just comment. And I would actually recommend for people to comment anyway and say, gee, can you see if I have anything there? Because there are many times things in a chart that people don't see. Like, I'll give you an example. I'm looking at this chart and it shows there's the asteroid Ceres, right? People don't normally look at Sirius, but Sirius is your food. It's our grain. And I always look at Sirius in a chart because it's a huge factor in my chart. I have a major food sensitivity, so I've always had to pay attention to Sirius. Chiron, that might be something you may not have printed up in your chart. Vesta may be something you don't have printed up in your chart. Juno may be something you don't have printed. There's Pallas Athena. There's a whole bunch of other asteroids that are not considered a big deal, and so they don't get printed in charts unless you specifically ask for them. But chances are, if it is at the 0 degrees world axis, it is going to be a big deal, and you're going to want to know about it. You're going to be like, am I starting something new or am I releasing something? So if you're starting something new because it's in Cancer, well, does that mean a new home, right? Does that mean, like I know somebody where they have Cancer in their, up there in their 10th house. And so it signifies a new work, right? It signifies, okay, this is what you're going to be doing going forward. And that's what this is. This is all a major change. You know, the cardinal, the world axis point is this big cardinal square, okay? And that's for all of us globally. And the fact that the nodes are going to be sitting there means it's going to be re-emphasizing this. We're not going back to the way it was. We're not supposed to. Because the way it was is the past. We're going to the future. All right, so Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Rising, that is happening in the 5th house, your future, what you're heading towards. So maybe being more creative on a regular basis. You know, if you don't have any planets there, it might be something as simple as that. Expressing in ways that give you joy. That is the 5th house. Maybe taking a risk every now and then. If you've got Cancer in your 5th house, there's with your emotions, maybe utilizing your emotions to create pieces of art. You know, emotions fuel their energy. And if you can take what you feel and put it on canvas or put it into sound, right? Or do dance with Cancer energy. That's a big thing with Cancers is dancing. Any form of creative expression. All right, so you might be utilizing that. The 5th house, don't forget, is how we feel joy. And when we're on lockdowns, when we have these restrictions, tuning in to a vibrational joy frequency is huge. Find out what that is for you. And I just tipped on a few of them. If you've got Cancer in the 5th house, it's being creative, but something that somehow gives you an emotional security, emotional satisfaction. So it's going to involve your feelings. It's going to somehow make you feel more secure, make you feel more at home, even if you've got 1,000,001 people in your home because everyone's on lockdown. So you have to find a way to create your own little home inside your home. For a lot of folks, especially Cancer risings, I hear this a lot, matter of fact, where they're like, my bedroom is my little world, my little piece, my little haven. It's where I go, where once I go in there, I have like, oh, you know, I've got this set up here, I've got candles, I've got, you know, I've got the bedding the way I want it with the colors and the lighting, and I've got, you know, maybe you burn essence oils and, you know, anyway, they've got all these little things that they know emotionally satisfy them. And that's key, having all those in place and constantly having contact with them every day while you're on lockdown is vital. This is how we're going to stay sane. For the month of April, it's not real easy. Honestly, one of the benefits of April is that we are in a really strong trine of Mars and Venus energy. They are getting along really well. They are harmonious. There's the ease that's added from this beam that they're sending to each other. It's masculine and feminine energy. One thing I will add is that your Mars is going to be in your 12th house. So that makes it a little different because the 12th house is typically our subconscious thoughts. Now it's different because it doesn't have to necessarily, it might not be something you're aware of. But depending upon your level of awareness, you may find that your subconscious world, which would be your dreams, okay, or past life stuff, could somehow, you might be having dreams that are more peaceful, that are nice, but that bring you some good information. Because if it's being trined by Venus, and Venus is our values, is our money, is our resources, it's what we desire, it's what we hold dear, who we hold dear, and you're getting a trine from that, again, you may be getting visits from dead loved ones. That's a very good possibility because this is in your 12th house. Okay, and the sign of Uranus, Aquarius energy, I should say, that is literally connecting to the mind of God. So pay attention to your dreams and comment below and let me know what you're doing. Like what kind of information you get at this time, if any. And or if you have stuff you're not certain of, you know, you can put it on the channel. Other people can read it and they can give you feedback, because if there are other Pisces Ascendant, Pisces risings, which I am not, right, they would be good sources to talk to and to relate with during this time. Now, your Venus energy is going to be in your Gemini stuff, and that's in your 4th house. That's in your home, typically, okay? So Mars is at 16 in Aquarius, and Venus is at 15 degrees in Gemini. And so they are communicating, they're relating, they are getting along really well. And that 4th house energy, having Gemini there, this is nice. Because this means, okay, this is my energy at home. There's talking, there's communicating, there's ways of having fun, doing crafty things. Remember, Gemini is all about the hands, okay? Gemini is all about keeping busy with our fingers, right? So whether that's using a keyboard, whether that's, you know, strumming a guitar, whether that's with a paintbrush in your hand, it's being active, but in a way where I'm having a good time and having fun, okay? Gemini's talking, thinking, and communicating in the home, expressing in a creative way. All right, Pisces Ascendant, you got any questions? If there's anything you want me to clarify, comment your stuff below, and I would be more than happy to shed more light upon your path. Hope this helped. Bye.